Good morning everybody and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And this morning I come to you from the beautiful, the awesome Bronte Pool. As you can see, the surf is pumping in the background. The pool is absolutely still. The water temp's about 16, I think, 16 or 17, so it's a bit chilly. So once I dive in, it'll be stinging on the back and on the arms for about a couple of minutes. But then what'll happen is hopefully my body will numb up and I'll get used to it and I'll be able to continue along my merry way. Anyway, while I've got you, I'd love to take an opportunity to talk to you about a subject which is near and dear to my heart. And it's probably a subject that I learned about 40 years ago. When I'd finished university, I went and did an additional couple of courses, one of which was public speaking. And I also did, believe it or not, a comedy class, but comedy is very, very tricky. But once again, I learned a lot from that comedy class, and I'll try and talk to you about some of that stuff as well in this presentation. But the key thing that I learned years ago about making presentations and educating people is it needs to be structured in the following way, and it's very, very simple. So you need to firstly tell them what you're going to tell them. Secondly, tell them. And thirdly, tell them what you told them. It's that simple. And if you can adopt that simple structure in all the topics that you want to talk about, you will never have a problem ever again. So in summary, for all the young people out there, the key to public speaking is to be relaxed, to keep it simple, not to overcomplicate things. And once again, let's go through the structure of public speaking. It's to, in your introduction, tell them what you're going to tell them. Got to keep an eye out for those waves, otherwise I'm going to get washed off these rocks and into the water. So tell them what you're going to tell them. Secondly, tell them. So go through and tell them what you're going to tell them. And thirdly, we finish off with a summary where we go back and tell people what we've already told them. It's that simple. The mistake that many people make is that they try and say too much, they try and make it too complicated, and not only do they confuse themselves, they confuse their audience, and nothing sinks in. So it's that simple. Another course that I went to years ago from Tom Hopkins was that he also suggested the similar sort of things. He said, keep it simple. And when you're selling things to people, use open-ended questions to keep them interested. What else did he say? And he said, don't alarm people. Keep it simple. Take small steps. It's like peeling an onion. You start with the outside layer, then you get a little bit more detailed, so you take another layer off and you layer your presentation so that it's steps, small steps that people can follow and people can stay linked to your presentation. So what did I learn about the the comedy class that I went in. Comedy is all about timing, and you need to rehearse your stuff over and over again so you get that timing. You need to get that timing spot on. Some of the exercises we did in that comedy class was that we, looking at that water, that we got a ball at the beginning of the class and we threw that ball to each other, and what the tutor wanted everybody to do was for somebody to start a story, and then randomly at any particular point throw that ball to somebody else, and that person then had to carry on that story. So thinking on the spot, and then throw that ball to somebody else, and they had to then carry on that story, and so forth until you got through the class, and you just kept on throwing it randomly. So you may get 10 turns at continuing the story. So it taught you that you had to not only pay attention to what somebody was saying, but as soon as that ball came to you, you had to quickly carry on from where that person left off. Another exercise that we did was we did it with passion, with high energy. So we basically had to shout to each other, not just talk to each other. So once that ball came to you, you had to shout to the class the continuance of that story. And then once you threw the ball to somebody else, they had to shout it back. So the act of shouting made it even more interesting and tricky. But what it did was it built skills. It built some fantastic skills that have helped me even today, 30 years later. So it's very, very important when you're in a leadership role to be able to think on your feet, to be able to carry on from where somebody else left off, and to make sense, and to continually present your opinions in a structured and rational way, and not feel at all embarrassed or hindered by your thoughts of what other people are thinking. Because once you start thinking about your audience, about what they're thinking about and how they're judging you, that's when you start to have challenges. So some other person also told me that when you're doing public speaking, just to think that you're talking to a sack of potatoes, because once you become too involved with the thought process of what other people are thinking, that's when the pressure builds, you tense up, and you may lose your train of thought. Tom Hopkins years ago said that the best salespeople, the best presenters, are the people who have rehearsed their material over and over again into small snippets of presentations. He called them advertisements. You need to be able to, on the snap of a finger, talk about whatever topic, talk about the strengths of your products, the strengths of you, who you are as a person. You've got to be able to do it on call. And the only way you can do it on call is to practice it over and over again so you're able to hit it time and time again. The top salespeople don't do things ad hoc. They don't make it up on the spot. They've rehearsed it over and over again. They've gone through and worked out their rebuttals. They know what the client's going to say. You know, there are 10 or 20 questions There are 10 or 20 rebuttals that every person has. But once you go through and process those rebuttals in your mind and have an instant and clear and rational answer to every potential rebuttal, then you're able to close the sale time and time again. Similarly, in your presentation style, you need to open your presentation, you need to close your presentation, and you need to make 2 or 3 points throughout your presentation that are memorable and that people can take away. Anyway, let's finish off there with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, learn to present. Learn to be comfortable with presenting to people on any topic. And in summary, we start by telling people what we're going to tell them, then we tell them, and then we finish up by telling them what we've already told them. Simple as that. Good luck with everybody. The world is your oyster. Public speaking is probably the most easiest thing that you'll ever get to do, because from the day we're born, all we do is chatter, 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 and you just need to use that skill and do it via a third medium or media such as social media. So with our mobile phones, with our selfie sticks, you need to have a good mic. You need to have a good mic to be able to capture your voice without variation, and practice it over and over again. Just grab yourself your mobile phone and just talk and talk. I've done these presentations now, these Jim's 5 a.m. clubs, over 120 times, and now I am so comfortable it's just not funny. So and it comes unstructured, unedited, unplanned, unorganized, and without inhibition. Doesn't worry me what people think about what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. I am the message, and I want to get that message across. So I encourage you all to live, learn, and pass it on using the technology that's available to us now, and you've got ample opportunity to become a leader in your field and to capture as much information and as much knowledge as you can and pass it on. Anyway, Yassas, take care from Bronte Pool on this beautiful morning. I can't wait to peel off the clothes, get into that water and do my 70 laps, which is the equivalent of 2 kilometers. Take care. Yassas. Bye.